Hello everybody, welcome to the Adkup Show. Today we are diving deep into a topic that's both fascinating and sobering: the decline of empires, with a sharp focus on why America might be next. In this video, we will compare last decades of Roman Empire with current situation of America. So without wasting time, let's get started. We all know the story of Roman Empire, right? They didn't fall overnight, but a series of events led to their collapse. Economic troubles, military overextension, political corruption, and social decay. All this made the Roman Empire weak from within, leading to internal civil wars. Sounds familiar? Well, we still don't witness much violence in American society as of now, but we will definitely witness it in the future. And when I say future, it means near future. Rome's economy was devastated by inflation, heavy taxation, and reliance on slave labor. Romans loved having slaves. Similarly, America's deindustrialization has left once thriving manufacturing regions like the Rust Belt into the dust. Now, people might think how America got deindustrialized. Well, America outsourced all its manufacturing abroad and became a consumer market so that demand for dollar can be created, hence making America a superpower with a massive military. But nothing is permanent. Today we are looking at a national debt of over $36 trillion, with projections that could see it balloon further, straining America's economic future. Now, as I speak, this is the national debt. It's more than $36 trillion. That's more than $100,000 debt per capita. The problem in this is that only 18% of Americans make more than $100,000 a year. This means 82% of American population are not in position to pay their debt. The reality is that they will never be in the position to pay back their debt. This economic model clearly shows that American economy doesn't represent 82% of the American population. Now, a lot of people will say that that's how the American economy works. But the problem they don't understand is that this is all financialized and nothing is real. America stopped producing decades ago. It is the China who is producing everything for America for decades. And guess what? America is fighting a cold war with China, assuming China is like the USSR. Now, moving ahead and coming to military overextension. The Roman legions were spread too thin, much like the US military, which has bases worldwide. America has more than 800 military bases worldwide. It costs billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to sustain those bases. With countries like China and Russia challenging US dominance, there's a strain on resources and a potential decline in a military efficacy. By the way, Chinese Navy is already bigger than the US Navy, and they're continuously manufacturing ships and submarines, whereas the AUKUS has failed. America is not able to deliver submarines to Australia, and the reason for this is that America is not able to produce those submarines on time, or maybe America won't be able to produce those submarines anytime soon. Now, talking about political decay, Rome had its share of corrupt and ineffective leaders. Here we see a government often paralyzed by partisan politics, where approval rating for Congress is below 20%. This gridlock affects everything from infrastructure to social policy. On the other hand, we have countries like China, who are also rival of the US, getting things done on time, and probably in no time. They are probably America of the past. Now let's further zoom into America's decline. Income inequality is climbing, showing that the rich are getting richer while the middle class stagnates, and in some cases, it is shrinking. In 2024, the top 1% captured a significant portion of income growth, mirroring the social unrest that plagued Rome. Now, we are yet to see the social unrest happening, but it will happen if things continue like this. And guess what? Chances for things to change is almost nil. Just like Rome, trust in American institution is also at an all-time low. Look at any Gallup poll. The faith in Congress, media, and even the Supreme Court is waning. This leads to fragmented society where communities no longer hold together. Go onto Twitter, which now is known as X. You will find Americans expressing themselves in totally raw form, and it is horrible. The hate and distrust is unimaginable. Elon Musk removed little bit of censorship and allowed people to speak up without any mainstream mindset. This has shown how fragile and weak the American society has become, and government needs censorship to manage this distrust, hate, and raw expression. Moving ahead to cultural identity. Rome's cultural identity diluted over time. This happened because Christianity became a mainstream belief. Rome was a pagan society. It means they had many gods and goddesses. Christianity disturbed the social and cultural fabric of Rome. This led to segregation, hate, and even civil wars. The entire civilization was wiped out after Christianity took over. America is doing the same, but with slight change, with debates on what it means to be American, aimed rising multiculturalism. America is currently a multiracial egalitarian society which is trying to absorb every voice and mindset. But that's not how societies function. You need certain amount of uniformity and rule to build a stable and long-lasting society. Recent surveys highlight a generational divide in patriotism, with younger folks less connected to traditional American identity. To be exact, America was built on two things. Number one is Christianity, and number two is white Anglo culture. Decline in Christianity is clearly visible, with young generation becoming less religious and white Anglo culture getting replaced not with other culture but with multiple culture. This is the perfect recipe for disaster, and the disaster will be painful. The US educational system is lagging behind in international ranking like PISA, meaning we are facing a mental health crisis with opioid deaths still high despite some stabilization. These are signs of society not investing in its future. Marriage and family institutions are falling apart. People have stopped getting married and having kids. TFR is declining every year. Population in urban areas continue to affect public health, much like lead poisoning in Rome's water systems. Now, talking about infrastructure, remember the last time you hit the pothole? The American Society of Civil Engineers might give US infrastructure a D+, signaling a systematic issue. This decay not only affects daily life but also hampers economic growth. Now, the problem we have here is not just about building the infrastructure, but it's also cultural. I mean, the generations of Americans which did the real job of raising the infrastructure and maintaining it has already retired or are on the verge of getting retired. The new generation isn't really interested in building and maintaining the infrastructure. This is clear cultural degradation, and we saw this even in Roman Empire. Society just stopped bothering and got demoralized. Coming to geopolitical decline or probably inability to maintain the status quo. Just as Rome had to contend with barbarian invasions, America faces rising powers like China, which are not just economic but also military threats. The US withdrawal from international agreements and alliances has occasionally left it more isolated on the global stage. Hey, but isn't that what Americans are demanding for? More tariffs, more protectionism, and more isolationism. From the Middle East to Asia, recent US policy has sometimes been seen as unpredictable or unilateral, reducing America's soft power influence. This can lead to a world where America's voice isn't as loud or respected. Countries pretty much are stopping to take America's words and actions seriously. America is not even able to contain the militia group which is operating from one of the poorest regions of the world, that is Yemen. This is exactly what happened with the Roman Empire. They were unable to manage their own territory and were unable to get things done, and the reason for this was becoming internally weak and divided. So the question is, are we witnessing the decline of another great empire? History doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. The US has some profound challenges ahead, but also opportunities to renewal. The key is learning from history, both our own and others. Good or bad, ultimately everything comes to an end. Whether America will collapse like Rome or adapt and evolve, only time will tell. The sad part about all this is that the decline is inevitable and chances to evolve is not high. So will there be a bloodshed? Well, you decide. But one thing is for sure, these signs shouldn't be ignored. Let's keep the conversation going in comment section. What do you think will happen with America and the American empire in the future? Stay informed. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into our worlds today. By the way, it takes a lot of hard work for these videos, so please click that thumbs up button. Catch you next time. Peace out.